What's happening, party people? This is Podcast for Dad. I am Jay, HinduDad, and Bav. How are you this week, brother?
Good, bro. What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm alright, man. Just it's been a busy week at work, man. Like, flat out, to be fair. We've had some projects come up, we've had some quotes go out. It's been a good week, man. Productive. How about you?
Productive, yeah. And waking up at 5:30 in the morning still.
Nah, mate. Not this week. This week, I've let that slip, man.
It's alright. You give yourself a little week off.
Well, to be fair, I've let myself slip in the morning, but I've made up for it in the evening. Do you know what I mean? So
Oh, that's alright then. That's alright then. That's not bad. Not bad. Yeah, no. Same with me, bro. Just busy working. Yeah, just getting on with it, man. Just letting the weeks go by, man. I'm hoping, soon enough we're all allowed to meet up. It's getting closer as the weeks go on now.
are you more excited about meeting up with people or getting your hair cut, though? Oh,
Um,
damn, wait. Hold on a minute. Where the hell did your beard go,
bro, I had to take it off, man.
bro?
I had
What?
to take it off. I had to take it off. Yeah.
Why?
It had to go, man. Honestly, it was getting too much,
You look like a child, bro.
bro.
There's some dust on your face,
You know
man.
what? I thought exactly the same, right? As soon as I took it off, I was like, "Oh, okay,
It's cold.
this, yeah." I want as that, but as soon as I took it off, I went to Caden and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he literally opened his mouth like this, and he just looked me up and down.
You start
And he's
bullying.
like, no, he just looked confused. I was like, little man, it's me, yeah? Don't worry, innit? It's all good, right? It's all good, don't worry, it's only me. Yeah, dad's still here, I saw the same. And he was really confused for about a good 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, so shocked. He's like, where has your beard gone? Like, what in the world? Because he was pulling it and everything, right?
Yeah, so
But
that's what I was just going to ask you. Like, is he not going to miss pulling it? Like, Jaden, bruv, will literally get his whole fist in my beard and just yank and, like, pull my face from side
But-
to side, bro.
to be fair, like, I did this, 2-3 days ago? And now, if I put my face near he's a lot more responsive and happy with it. Like in a
is it?
nice, happy, responsive way, rather than
Does he not
before.
find it more stubbly and prickly rather than, like, a
No,
little
but
bit
the other
softer?
the other one was annoying him. Like it would
Right.
annoy him so badly. This one, I think he prefers a bit more. So yeah, it was about 5 minutes of like, who is this person? Where have you come from? Why are you in my room? To now that you're alright, I know who you are now. Heard my voice. Yeah, cool. Okay, we're good now. Let's carry on as usual. So yeah, it was a few minutes of just a bit of confusion, but yeah, I had to go, bro. Honestly, I couldn't do it, man. It was just getting on my nerves.
Mate, I was going to say it looked pretty good, man.
You know what? You're not the only one who said that, but I think it was. You never know, man. It might come back again soon. I think it might need to come back just a little bit.
When's the
More
next
than what it
opportunity
is.
you're going to have not to visit a barber for 4 months?
Just not go in it. Or just get him to just trim the sides, trim the top, leave the beard, let it grow out, see how we get on. But yeah, let's see how we go, man. Mate, it's another 6-7 weeks till that opens up again, if not longer.
Yep.
Until they might push it back a bit more, and who knows what the world's coming to, man. So
Bro, this is the longest I've ever been without a haircut, mate. Like, the longest period of time that I've gone without a haircut.
why you got old school like you used to do, man? Shave it off, done.
Because I decided to grow it out and go back to what I had prior to shaving it all off. So at the moment, I'm in a stage of growth. So in a way, it's a blessing, right? Because it's growing out. It doesn't matter what it looks like, and no one's ever going to see it.
No one gonna see it. Yeah. That's it.
Whereas last time when I grew it out, I had to wear a hat for like 4 months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this time round, I'm a little bit more settled. But nah, man, like, to be honest, I missed that time at the barber as well, bro. Like, as much as like,
But when you go to your barbers, is it actually like a full on like queuing up? Like you have to wait around and have
Nah.
pants in the, or
No.
just go in, have your trim?
So I've been going to the same barber for probably the last 20 years, bro.
Bro,
Like, literally. And to the point where when I was studying in Leicester, I would come back every 2 weeks and get my hair trimmed by Ari
Don't
because
worry.
he was my barber, bro. Do you
don't
know what I
worry,
mean?
been there, done that. Never would you, never.
Even if I was coming back the following weekend, I'd still go on that second week just to get the trim. Do you know what I mean? But back in those days, there was a queuing system. Now, Harry's got his own place. He's set up in Cockfosters, and it's appointment based only. So I literally book my appointments as I'm in. Like, you know, you finish one haircut, you book the next appointment. You know, 2 weeks down the line, your time's
Yeah.
set. You walk up, walk in, jump down, good to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no man, those days of queuing up are well and truly away from
Well, the
me.
fact is, like, at the moment, like, everyone's moving into appointment based systems anyway, right?
Yeah,
But the fact is, like, for the past few years, I've been willing to pay a little bit more for that level of service where I can just walk in, get on and
100
go. Do you know what I
100%.
mean?
Yeah,
Like, there's
I've been
value
that.
in that. My time is a value. It's a commodity. It's what we trade in our line of work. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
I've been lucky, man. I've had that privilege for many years. I used to like my barber that I used to have before. He used to come to my house and give me trims, but then he went off like the scene altogether. So no one knows where he's at the moment. But yeah, but, you know, there's times in life where then you have to look for someone new, right? But now, literally call him up. Yeah, go come around this time.
you're going to end up like that Anwar Jabari and his little sketch about the not being loyal to his barber, bro.
Nah, bro, they're not loyal to me, bro. If you disappear from me, what am I meant to do, man? Like, I'm alright now. I've been with this one for about 7 years now, so going strong, same place all the time, knows how the trim goes, no queuing, nothing. So yeah, man, honestly, it's like the best thing, man. You can't
Funnily
just
enough, though, yeah. So tonight's guest, I was actually introduced to him by my barber Ari.
Oh really?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So I think let's bring him onto the show. So this week's guest is Turker Acar, and essentially, I'm gonna bring him into the stream, and then we can talk about what he does. Yeah. So Turk, welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
Hello, very well, thanks yourself.
We're all good, man. We're all good. How's your week
Okay.
been?
What day is it?
Today is Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, Monday, Sunday, doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter,
anymore.
innit?
It really doesn't matter anymore. Seriously, every day I'm asking my wife what day it is, and I think to myself afterwards, why?
It don't make no difference anymore.
It don't make
It's
any
all
difference.
It's
There's
all
no
the
weekend.
same, man.
Exactly. There's no Fridays anymore where you can just relax, put your feet up. You can literally try and put your feet up every day. It feels like a Friday every day to me, in a way.
Yep.
I'm trying
Definitely.
to treat it that way to have a better life.
So,
That's
go on, Buff.
I was gonna say that sounds like a good plan, man. That treating it every day like a Friday. I think that's the way to look at it going forward, man. Might be
Yeah.
more. I don't know how productive we'll be at work, but
Not
treat every
very.
day like
Not
yeah,
very.
it's good. Yeah, let's go.
If the work seems to stop at 3 o'clock for some reason, I don't know why. It might have something to do with the Friday feeling. I don't
But
know.
that's the way, man, and that's the benefits of working for yourself, right?
In a way, yes, absolutely. But yeah, yes.
So, Turk, tell us a little bit about you and the family, man.
Me and the family. Okay. I am a father of three. I have two stepchildren.
Yep.
My stepchildren are 16 and 17, and Tyler, the youngest one, is 6.
Mhm.
So yeah, although I feel like I've been a father for 12 years, I've known my stepchildren for 12 years. So I met them when they were 4 or 5. So I've got a bit of a bonus really. I've got 3 for the price of 1, in a way. So I've got three beautiful souls that love me, I hope. And yeah, we have a dog and a cat.
Nice.
And
You've not had the dog very long either, have you? So,
No, mate. The dog came to the scene 5th of January. It was a late Christmas present, and no, it wasn't one of those dogs. I promise you, it wasn't a Christmas dog. It was just to because we've been locked up at home, 3 of us, 3 of the kids, me and the wife, and the kids have been getting a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit bored. Things it became a bit of a groundhog day for us, I think, and
yeah,
the dynamics of the family had to change a little bit. So for the last 9 months, I've been researching on what sort of dog to get. So it was a long process. We've found a dog. We bought an American Bully, not very expensive. I didn't want to pay a lot of money for it, which is what they are at the moment. They're very, very expensive, and it's been a blessing. I get up early in the mornings now, which is great. because I was lazy, wasn't getting up in the mornings.
Maybe you need a dog bath.
No, me and dogs, we don't go, man. No, we're good. We're good. We're good. I was
For
gonna
weeks,
say,
I've been telling Bob to get up early and start working from like 5 in the morning. He's like, bruv, I can't do it.
Bro, I'm up 6 a.m. every morning, and it doesn't matter what time. I usually go to bed around about 1, 2. I would say in the morning. I like to work late, so I do photography as well. So I like to edit in the evening. So even if I go to bed 2, 3, I'm still up at 6 o'clock to make sure that he doesn't do his toilet in his crate, which is it just stresses me out. So
I was gonna say that's the incentive to get you up, man. Just knowing that it can go anywhere around the house.
Two mornings, I was like, oh no, I don't want to get up. Like alarms going off, snooze, 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 and then I hear the dog howling, going, oh. I'm like, oh no, okay, run downstairs, and it's mayhem.
Done.
Oh, man.
And you can't blame the dog. It's not the dog's fault. It's always the owner's fault. So every time he does something wrong, I have to blame myself. You can't blame the puppy. It's just a baby. Although it's grown from that to that in 2 months.
It's crazy how dogs grow as well, isn't it?
Mate, they grow quicker than a plant. It's like weed. It's like, I mean, like weeds that grow out of the that's how quick they grow. It's phenomenal. He eats more than I do. He eats about 1 kilo of meat a day. So it's it's hectic. It's hectic, and I'm vegan, so it's pretty mad. I have to feed him raw food. I gave him chicken feet today. Man. I wouldn't even cook like meat for my kids. Now I'm having to serve this dog meat. But
can't you just make the dog vegan?
I think that might be a little bit evil. Yeah,
I know. I've heard of like,
no, don't get me wrong. I think it's possible with some dogs, but because of this type of dog, because it's classed as one of those large dogs. And it needs that. It needs those fats. It needs that energy to be able to do what it needs to do. So, but you know, I don't want to go into the vegan thing unless you want me to. But you know, they've got the teeth for meat. We haven't. So I can't see why I should. I don't see why he should go plant-based.
Don't deprive him of what he needs, right?
No, exactly. He'll eat anything that's meat. So I found this really good dog food place in Hartford, which is great. It's called We Love Raw, by the way. Sorry if I'm plugging them in, but it's brilliant. It's two-man team that runs it, and they make some beautiful food. I mean, if you look at it, and you're like, wow, that looks better than my meat. The mince, he minces like a whole load of different meats together, including bone, organs, and this, that, and the other, which is really good for dogs, and vegetables, and it just looks amazing. You're like, wow. But yeah, that's for the dog owners out there, if you're interested.
So, just so we don't overlook the fact that you're a vegan, like, when did all that happen?
Sorry, say that again?
When did you go plant-based?
I went plant-based 3 years, and it was 3 years last August. So coming up to 4 years now, actually, almost. Like, do you know what? It's mad. The last year's gone so quick. Like,
I know, man.
You know,
but the thing is, you know, I've been listening to quite a few people talking about the next 10 years being like that, and I can see that happening in a way, because we're almost sort of, the first year's up. It went so quick. I don't doubt the second year's going to be any slower, to be honest.
No, we're already in March, and I don't know where that 3 months has gone by.
Isn't it? It's mad. It's mad. But
we've been locked down for a year.
Crazy. I don't know. Now that the furlough's been extended to September, God knows what's going to happen.
Yeah. Does anyone think that we're actually going to get out in June?
No. You wait until the sun comes out in April and everyone comes outside.
That's the problem. That is the problem.
The thing is, they want that to happen. They want to blame us. They don't want the blame on themselves. So that little bit of freedom they'll give us will give them the opportunity to say, because I don't know if you've noticed, but every time they talk, they say, as long as we're responsible, as long as we stick to the rules, and they know for a fact that the majority of people are not going to.
You've given people that kind of free reign already. Like the whole aspect of being relaxed is already kind of come. You know, if you look around, and you know, I literally live by the A406. I will look out my window, and the traffic now over the last couple of weeks, it's just increasing. Because as soon as you go out there and tell everyone, as of this date, we're going to do this, they're just taking a step back, like, all right, as of this date, I might as well do it from today.
It's going to be like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Christmas Eve.
Don't,
When everyone get their turkey and stuff, it's going to be mad. It's going to be, and then what's going to happen is we'll get those little snippets in the news, and every single news source and newspaper will show front page, massive page showing Bournemouth Beach, Southend Beach, Finsbury Park,
Right.
and then taking
To the
shots.
rafters.
Taking shots from a low angle so that the 500 people can look like 3,000. Do you know what I mean? So, and then they'll put it on the paper's front pages, say, Brits are not, doing what they're supposed to do. People are not these, the anti-vaxxers and this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden,
back into lockdown.
and then September is the flu season is going to come, and then after that, that's another lockdown for you. Do you know what I mean?
As long as I can get my Nando's on my birthday, bro, I'm cool.
Nando's, did you say?
Yeah, man.
Is it-
Whatever it be, I gotta make sure that I can get it for my wife. My wife's a vegetarian, you see, so I have to.
I'm really upset. I missed I was gonna have. I don't usually have birthdays. I can't stand birthday parties and things like that. And I was gonna have my one main birthday on my 40th, which was last year April, and I couldn't.
Yeah. You're an April born as well, yeah?
Sorry?
Are you an April born as well?
Yeah.
What's your date?
15th of April.
No way. I'm the 12th.
12. Are you in Aries?
Yeah.
Jeez, bud.
Spot that.
Come on. Sick.
So,
yeah.
what's up, man?
Hmm.
So, tell me about MB Premium products and talk to me about NutraBlast, man.
NutraBlast. Well, NutraBlast.
Yeah, where did the concept even hit you from?
Where did the concept start? I have been I've been smoking all my life, in my car and so on, and smokers always have some sort of air freshener at home or in their car that they use, and I had loads of them in the car, and I wanted one that worked because I have loads in the car because none of them worked. You spray it and it smelled for a couple of minutes and that was it. It's gone. So I wanted to find something that did what I would need to do, and I found these and come up with the smells and the brand and the design, the colours, and we've come out with NutraBlast air fresheners. I currently have 4 different scents available, which are lemon, mandarin. We've got one that's called Agiros, which smells like Christian Dior Sauvage, and the 4th one is Fresco. There's this one here, which is like a fresh, cool smell. But yeah, it's. I wanted to come out with something that was nice, so you could like have it laying around the house. Like, you know how you don't mind your aftershaves being on show.
Yep.
However, air fresheners always tend to go underneath the kitchen cupboards and gets forgotten about. But I wanted to make something that looks nice, that you could leave in your car on the sides, that you could have standing around the house without having to put it underneath the kitchen table. So it's a brand thing, I suppose. And it's been very good. People are locked up at home, smoking at home. They have dogs that smell. They have kids that smell. So yeah, it's been a blessing for people. People are buying them, Seriously, when you've got so many kids at home, like I've got a dog that farts like you wouldn't believe. The amount of meat he eats. He farts like I used to. I don't fart anymore. I literally don't have any farts. I promise you. Unless I eat something by mistake that's got dairy in it, I have no problems there. But the dog, oh my God, will be sitting there while he's sleeping. He'll just drop one. It is
relentless, yeah?
Relentless. Plus dog smell, people like it for that. I've got a lot of nans and aunties and stuff buying them. They love that too. A lot of my friends have taken them to their nans, and their nans buying like 2 cans every month. I'm like, wow, brilliant. They must be using it quite a bit. I suppose people are spending more time at home, so it does get used quite a bit. But yeah, so travelled the country a bit. I went and saw quite a few stockists that were selling smoking accessories online on Instagram. Went and met them, gave out some stock. And yeah, it's been a blessing since, really. first
Like, to be
launched.
fair, that's quite a smart move as well, man. Like, you've gone to market to a niche that isn't very well catered for, that looks in homeware section to try and cover up the smell. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm,
just that ploy in marketing in itself is quite a genius little trick.
yeah, I'd like to think it works, and hopefully it carries on. Um, but yeah, so far so good. We've got I've got an official distributor on board who distributes to all the smoking accessory shops around the country and in Europe as well. So this year's been a bit weird. We were going to go Barcelona, to Tenerife,
Yep.
and Amsterdam, but things are a little bit weird at the moment, obviously over there.
Is that for like homewares, accessories, and things like that to do
As for
like trade
trade,
shows and so forth?
well, trade show. We were booked in to go to a big trade show just before lockdown. Actually, it
Yeah.
was supposed to be last March or April, I think it was. We'd already
Okay.
got tickets and everything. We had to cancel it last minute because I didn't want to take the stock up there and be stuck with it.
Sure.
There was a lot of problems, so we had to cancel that. However, we had some good friends over there that are promoting it over in Barcelona. There's a lot of smoking shops over there, and in Amsterdam as well. We have some good links over there. So we just need to get it out there, but just can't. Obviously, with Brexit, things have changed a little bit. So
This is it. That whole dynamic has changed, and your availability to market is being impacted. So you got
yeah,
to look at alternative options, right?
absolutely. This is the way. This is the way that I've always been. Always try and look ahead to make sure that I'm not stuck with something that's not going to work. I mean, just before I started this business, I had estate agents in London. So, and I did Airbnbs. I had a few flats, apartments in Camden Town that I rented out to holiday makers that came to London,
Okay.
which was a very, very, very good business. I've been an estate agent for over 10 years. I had my own business in Kentish Town, which I had to close just before Christmas, actually, so 2019 Christmas.
Yeah.
I could see that things were sort of
Slowing.
slowing down, but I
Yeah.
kept holiday places for Airbnb, which were doing great until March came and the news came, and literally I was fully booked up for the rest of the year until October, November.
Really?
Yeah, I was fully booked up, and then like the first week of the news, I had like £10,000 worth of cancellations, and then the week after another 10. The week after that it was like 30, and all of a sudden the whole year was empty. And I've got like a responsibility of like £5,500 to pay to my landlord in rent.
Yep.
These places, I'm like, what do I do? Do I take the risk, sit and wait, like most people have been doing? Eating into their savings, because it's very hard to let go of a business when you put so much into it, and
Definitely.
you know how lucrative it has been, and how lucrative it could be if things were all right. But I knew that things weren't going to be all right, so I was like, straight away, I was on the phone to him. Landlord, I need to give you the keys back because I don't think it's going to get better. He's like, are you sure? Why don't you wait another month? Like, that's going to cost me £5,500. I'm not prepared to do that.
Yeah.
And luckily I did, because nothing's coming back. And even like there are some bookings being done in London, I suppose, but it's nowhere near enough for me to be able to make my profit, or even to cover my
For
rent.
sure. Well, to
That's
be fair, like since the announcement last week, like the other day, Bav and I were talking about a couple of staycations and that.
Yeah,
And
we
I had
booked
a
it
look
already.
the other day, bruv. The prices are ridiculous right now.
Vacations are, oh my God, my missus booked one in Wales. We're going to Wales, hopefully, if things are open. We've already booked it. There's free cancellation on it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money turning this way at the moment. I don't know how it's going to go. People are all right to do free returns and stuff. But I don't know. There's like concert tickets being sold for October and stuff. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's a bit too far fetched in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm like,
That's too
hold
much.
on,
I'm sorry.
that's almost like having that's like trading almost. It's like you're lending money to someone in the hope that a show will go on,
Yep.
knowing the fact that things are really upside down at the moment. And like, I suppose if I was organising something like that, I'd take everyone's money and put it on gold, on Bitcoin until October. And if it doesn't,
Take it back out. Yeah, there you go.
it's like it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Arrange a show, £60 a ticket, 5,000 people. Thank you very much. I'll have that for 4 or 5 months. Work that money and then return it to you when nothing happens.
But that's pretty much what's happening, right? You're giving it to them to hold. They're holding that money.
Yeah, you think
they're
they're
going to
gonna
make
hold
some. No,
and do
they're
nothing
gonna-
with it?
no.
I mean, as a businessman, you wouldn't. Nobody would. You're going to do something with that money.
Yeah.
because there's no regulations in place to say that you can't on that sort of thing.
No, that's you
Yeah,
can hold it. You know, you can do something.
yeah,
You can
chuck it on
earn a bit of
Bitcoin
money. Yeah,
until
that's
October. You're done. By October,
hope,
you would have doubled your money.
hoping
Probably.
it carries on the way it's done for the last 6 months, and you'll be laughing. And
You say that, mate.
Mate,
I'm losing big time at the moment. Dying. I'm dying.
is it
Stock,
dropped
is it?
again?
not just Bitcoin. I'm talking about the other stocks are going crazy. Last week it went nuts, and this week it's still going a bit nuts. They
It's,
think it might get worse, but there's probably going to be like they're saying there's probably going to be about 50% loss by April. 50% drop. Yeah.
Rah.
Wait, my dad told me about getting some Bitcoin recently. I think about 3 months ago. I think it was about $14,000. And he's like, yeah, he's like, put some money into it. I was like, nah, man, I'm not buying into it. I'm not doing it. And then I looked at it. Yeah, I think we looked at it what Monday or Friday, and it was at
50K or
52,
something.
and I was like,
So you know what? About two and a half years ago, about 2.5 years ago, I bought some Bitcoin to purchase something from abroad. Um, and I had, because of the exchange rate, I had something ridiculous left. Now I had something like 20 pence left in there in Bitcoin, and I've totally forgot about that account. And since I've been trading for the last month, I had a look and I was like, oh my god, I've got one of those accounts. Let me go back into it. That 20 pence had become something stupid. I don't even want to make it up, but like a 20 pence had turned into like £25 or something. Like
Yeah.
crazy. Imagine if that.
imagine you had just put 100 quid in there.
Well, that's why the originally put in there. If I hadn't spent that 100 quid, that 100, whoa, it would have been
Innit? You'd be
ridiculous.
laughing.
Oh my god! But then again, where'd you go? Like I remember those days when people were telling me, "Can't buy it. It's a pound. It's a pound. It's a pound." Buy 100 of them. Like, don't know, 100 of them. Now you'd have £500,000.
Yeah, pretty much. You'd be set.
Of those
right?
guys that got in on the ground when it was just pennies and laughing, innit?
There's so many of those now, though. There's a lot of people getting into those penny stocks now that do fluctuate in like very madly, and some people have made money, but some people
It's,
just holding on to it at the moment. I'm like, 'cause last week I bought some bits like a few weeks ago, and last week it went down. I'm like, okay, I'll leave it there and wait for it to go back up in it. And this week
Yeah.
it's gone down even more. I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? Like,
It's going to bounce back,
it's
man.
all high
Everyone that I'm
risk, man.
speaking to is telling me that it's coming up and it's up. So it'll go up, it'll go down, it'll fluctuate. But the long and short of it is, by the end of the year, it's still going to be up.
by the end of the year, it will be. Yeah, it's just for those people. Sometimes if you obviously can't afford to let your money sit in there, I suppose that's what happens. People have to. And that's where they make the money from people who are scared. Like, oh, sell it. I'll lose out. It's all right. You know what I mean? I'll lose that instead of losing this. So, I don't know.
it's the big stocks are the ones that have been kind of like all the big boys have put their money into it.
Bro,
Like
me,
Tes-
you and I, we're the pawns. Like,
Yeah,
they make
yeah.
it from us. We're the idiots. And
Yeah.
and the thing is, I've realised you don't actually make any money on this until you take the money out.
Yeah, because
You
you
know what I
can
mean?
lose it overnight and it's gone. And
Exactly. Like people say, oh, stocks are going up, stocks are going up. Oh, my money that was this much now it's this much. I'm like, bro, you haven't made any money until you take the money
take
out.
it out. Yeah. And
And do
people are,
something.
problem is people are
100,
scared
man.
to take the money out as well because they're like, oh, if I take it out, what happens if it goes up? But also, what happens if it goes down? And you're like,
Exactly. So we're the idiots who on that frame of mind are the ones that are paying the 1%, the money they're making at the moment.
yeah, well, Mr. Musk went and put, $1.5 billion into Bitcoin, let it rise all the way to the top. It will take
Well,
his money
even more.
take his money straight back out again,
But
and
then,
he'll wait and he'll tell everyone, and it's gonna drop as soon as he takes his money
well,
out.
this is it. He controls the market in a way. He's so powerful from what
Yeah.
he says. He can control the market, and this is what was happening with Trump when he was in power.
Yeah,
Trump would come up and say something absolutely ridiculous that would mess up the market in a mad way, and then one of his ads will come out the next day or later that afternoon and say, "Well, what he really meant was so and so and so." It was literally just like saying these stupid things to affect the market. Let it have a dip when people buy, but keep buying, and then one of their speakers will come out and say what Mr. Trump really meant was da 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 da, and they're like, he didn't really mean that, and then the stocks start going back up again.
and then they made their money. Easy money, right?
Mad. Man,
If you've got a couple of billion sitting in your bank account, you can dictate the whole market if you
isn't
really
it?
want to. That's all it is. This is pretty much what it comes down to, right?
That's what it comes down to.
We go on. Okay, we've reviewed this stock, or we've looked at this one, we followed this one. Okay, we think it's gonna go up a bit. All right, let's put some money in there. Put a couple of £100, put 1,000, whatever you're going to put in. But it's not you. It's not up to you what happens. All your research that you've done could be nothing, because tomorrow morning there could be one tweet, one statement come out, and all that money is
Becomes
just
too
wiped
late
up.
because that person who's making that tweet or that comment has already made the investment they need to make as well.
Exactly
yeah.
that.
Or sold up. I'll quickly sell this first. Go on the mic. Buy up that money again and let it go up.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
It's crazy the amount of power that a tweet has these days, bro.
It's amazing the amount of power one person has that it's a mind blow. But I think GameStop. I don't know if you know about the story of GameStop. What happened?
Yo, bro, that was madness, man.
Wow, I mean, the thing is, I personally think Tesla's a bit very similar to that. I know that they've got some big plans in the pipeline for what's going to happen in the future in terms of because they're going to be getting into the energy market, I believe. But there's nothing there. When he came out with that Roadster, for example, everything, the stock started going up. They haven't even sold a single one yet. Not one's been delivered yet. And that was 2 years ago.
But it's all that. It's that. Let me make that speech. Let me say what I need to say.
Yeah.
And I am so powerful, and it's my company that whatever I say is gonna, make people either buy it or sell it. And when they do, I'm gonna be the one to cash in.
Yeah.
If it drops tomorrow morning, he'll buy it himself.
Exactly.
Say something else to make it rise. And then
you say he'll buy it himself, yeah, but I don't think he does any of those actions on his own back. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's probably got a team of people that look after his
Of
family.
course, no, of course, right? But you still have to be smart enough to give that kind of. Should I say something to try and make a quick couple of 100 million? I want to be the world's richest man again. All right, let me try and do something. To just get back to the top again. It literally is a competition between him and Jeff to say who's the richest guy around. Like
apparently he lost his first place though. When Bitcoin dropped to 39.
He lost how much?
Apparently, no, he lost his first.
He lost a lot.
Oh
of money.
yeah. But it's like, how
Yeah.
much? How much are you losing, right? Okay, you're gonna go down to number 2. You've still got so much money. What do you need?
Second richest man in the world.
But that's the thing, right? It's just like, what is going on over there?
Mate, what I can see at the moment is that at the moment the world feels like a film. Those films and cartoons like Simpsons. Like Mr. Burns, the rich businessman, the old businessman who's like evil, wants to take over the world and da da da. That's literally what's going on at the moment. All these world leaders that we talk about, they've got nothing. You got to talk about people like Bezos and Tesla, about what's going, and Bill Gates. These are the guys who are running the show at the moment, and people don't realize what we see in films about these rich, powerful men winning power is actually happening in real life now.
Yeah, and there's so much emphasis on it because one, they're in the media constantly, and at the same time, look, we're at home. We're not really seeing anything else. All you're seeing constantly is the news and what's being shown on it constantly every day. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. This person's made that much money. I don't even know why they go through the same thing over and over again. The whole, this many people have been vaccinated today, or that many people have been vaccinated today, and this has happened there, and that's like, all you're doing is just putting your mind into that. You're not allowed to go out. You can't do anything. You can't get away from it all. You just got to listen to it, or.
All right, so you say that, right? Like, this many people have been vaccinated, this, that, and the other, right? But so, as I say, we've been working on some new contracts that came into our creative company. They want creative content. The fact is, the issue that a lot of practices are facing at the moment is that they have so many vaccines available with a limited shelf life, and the people that fall within the category that are now eligible for these vaccines are either self-isolating or they're shielding because they've been told for the past year that you need to stay indoors, you fall in a vulnerable category, and now that these vaccines are available for them, they're too scared to leave the house.
No, I totally
Or they
get that.
don't trust that they can go to a doctor's surgery or a practice and get the vaccine without putting themselves at risk. Like literally, like we spoke to 3 practices in the last week that are singing the same song.
I get where they're coming from. I totally understand it, right? There are people out there who have been told to stay at home, don't go anywhere, stay shielded. You've been at home for literally 12 months now. We've done a whole year. And why am I going to now come out and expose myself to get a vaccine? Where you've told me to stay at home. I'm worried about even just stepping foot out of my house, let alone coming into an environment where you've got thousands of people, hundreds of people coming through it every day, every kind of
Well, you say
couple
that.
hours.
Say that. Sorry, but I've got people who work. I've got friends who work in test centres, and he's been like this guy's been. And he works for one of the biggest test centres in the country. Yeah, and he was telling me the numbers of people that were coming on a daily basis. I'm like, and he was telling me, he goes, these numbers don't add up. He goes, folks. Like he was getting some days they were getting like 10 people coming a day in a big massive test centre.
Yeah, because it's down to you as an individual to book your test, isn't it? Like the government will text you or they'll send you a notification to say that your criteria is now the eligible, but it's down to you as an individual to book that appointment and get yourself like vaccinated.
It is, yeah. No, I think they're going to step it up anyway. I just heard some news about Israel today, which is I don't know, a bit weird. Like they've started all the passport stuff over there already, so you can't go into gyms, theatres, cinemas, or anything like that unless you've been vaccinated. So
Really?
there's a vaccine apartheid going on in Israel already. And I listened to a lady today. I posted on my Instagram actually, and they've started their own political party over there. There's a number of doctors and professors,
Okay.
and apparently they've been shut down, and the doctors have had their licenses revoked by the government.
Really?
And yeah, and they're stopping them from talking to any media outlets around, well, in Israel and around the world. Yeah, so there's I don't know, there's a lot of controversy. I don't know how you guys are in terms of what you feel about what's going on, but
I don't know. I don't know if we've got the many hours to go into it, and I'm not even joking. Right? There's so many kind of aspects to it. Everyone has an opinion on it. There's no kind of right or wrong to it. It comes down to personal preference. Are you gonna want it? Do you want to take the vaccine? Do you believe in it? Do you think it's gonna help? The other side of it is, tomorrow morning they'll turn around and they have the power to do it, to say you can't go into X, Y, and Z country until you've had the vaccine. Now, what do you you would stick by your morals, don't take the vaccine, or do you want to get out of the country and go on holiday and just take the vaccine and be done with it? You're put in that kind of limbo to say, well, otherwise you're stuck in this country. You can't do X, Y, and Z because they are going to do it. So there are things, probably have it that kids will need to take it at a certain time before they go into schools, and all those kind of things will come into play.
I mean, I guess like the question to pose is, if the schools turned around and said to you as a parent, before your kid can come back to school, he's got to be vaccinated, are you going to send him for his vaccine?
yeah,
Obviously, there's a lot of people out here that are saying that we don't want the vaccine. Do you know what I mean?
my youngest Tyler hasn't had his last vaccines, where the vaccines he was supposed to have at the age of 4.
Yeah.
I didn't give that to him, and we've been bullied by the NHS since, with letters with big bold letters on them. Being sent to us and and I've not let him have a flu jab in school either, because they even changed a flu jab. They changed them to nasal sprays to make it easier.
Right.
So I said no to that. My older lot, my daughter, who's the eldest, she's
Yep.
17 now, but when she was 11, 12, they asked, because I think they still do them, cervical cancer vaccine. It used to
Okay.
be. Now they've done it so that girls and boys get it, and I'm like, why are boys getting cervical cancer vaccines? Well, they've changed them now to, apparently it's got something to do with sexually transmitted diseases as well. It keeps them safe from that, apparently.
Right.
But back then, when I was doing my research, I was looking on YouTube and I was watching videos of parents who've made videos of their daughters who've had the vaccine, and they were having some terrible experiences. I mean, it was frightening what they were going through. So for that reason, I didn't give it to my girl. However, you try and find those videos now, you can't find them. You cannot find those videos, mate. They're all gone. There's so many things that I used to see on vaccines. I used to watch on vaccines, which I think is in a way the cause of all the anti-vaxxers at the moment. It's now all gone. You can't find it. And if you were to see it today, you'd be frightened. You'd be like, "There's no way I'm getting it."
But someone kind of said something to me the other day that made me think a bit. Is since vaccines were introduced, forget about this one, but just in general, over time, the life expectancy has gone up. Whether that's to do with that correlation is like, yeah, coincidence. It could be, could not be. There's other factors to it, but there potentially is a point there to say, because of vaccines, because of the technology in medicine and stuff that's gone, taken large steps since the kind of Second World War, post all that. People are living on average a lot longer than they were then.
They are. That's something that's been improving over the last few decades. But also, children with special needs has gone up in numbers as well. So autistic children have gone through the roof. And I've spoken to a friend of mine. A friend of mine's mother works in an autistic school, and she has said to me that there are many, many parents who turn around. I've had people, because I used to talk about this on my Instagram quite a bit. So I had a few people message me. One of them in particular who messaged me saying that his daughter was never the same after the day that she was vaccinated. Completely different. She started losing eye-to-eye contact with her parents, wasn't talking as much, and started.
Like, what age was that as well? Like, what age was she when?
Four.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the vaccination that I refused to give to Tyler for that reason,
right,
at the time. And Tyler, you know what, Tyler? Thank God, touch wood, right? For the last 3 years or so, he's not been ill. He might come with a little runny nose sometimes from school back in the day when they used to go to school, but he's never taken a day off school for being ill. Like, he's never really had any like major illnesses, touch wood. And I just feel that he doesn't need to have a vaccination for that reason.
But what were those vaccines that they give you at the age of 4?
Sorry, what is it?
What are they? Yeah, what are they for?
I can't even remember. I can't remember. I mean, to be honest, if I had my knowledge from the beginning, I probably wouldn't have allowed him to have vaccines from the day he was born, because I know that after he had his first vaccine, we had to go into hospital. He was in hospital very, very seriously for 5 days. It was one of the most stressful times of my life, staying in the hospital.
Definitely. Like, their first vaccines within the first 6 weeks, right? So we're talking like that time, right?
Yeah. He was tiny. He was tiny, and I remember him being tired, like having a drip to his arm, sleeping with him. It was a horrible 2014 summer. It was around about August. July, August, I would say. So a month or so after he was born, a couple of months maybe. And it was the most terrifying time. And the thing is, never once did I ever think, or anyone ever mention anything about it being possibly being connected to vaccines. And the thing is, since that day, every time I've spoken to a friend, a family member, or just someone that I've met, sometimes they'll tell you, "Oh, my little one's ill," and I would ask them a question. I say, "When did they have their vaccine?" And they'll be like, 2 or 3 days ago. I'm like, "Have you not thought that it could be the vaccine, maybe?" I'm like, "What?" And that's where the conversation starts and goes to another level, obviously. But yeah.
I will say this though, like, Jaden did have the vaccines. Like, obviously he's coming up to 5 months in the next few days, but like, touch wood, luckily he hasn't had any like further implications.
Not everybody does.
Like,
not everybody does.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm very thankful for that. Like, in this past week, he's got to this stage where he's just constantly eating his fingers. So we know, like, the guy's teething and he can feel his gums and, like, that little bit there, because even this afternoon, bruv, like, just chatting to him, and this guy's got his whole, like, hand in his fist, like, just in his mouth, bruv. Like, he's chewing my missus' finger, like, her thumb disappeared. I was like, right, this guy is, like, moving on now, man.
You're right. I've got the same thing happening with a dog, but he's just got sharp teeth. That's really different.
Takes your hand and tries to chew on it, yeah?
Yeah.
Painful.
Right, they learn from a young age. Their mum has a go at them, biting hard. So you have to let them bite you when they're puppies, and then
Yeah.
teach them that it hurts. So slowly, gradually, what you do is basically when you say ouch, when you make an ouch sound, they understand that you've hurt them, because dogs
Yeah.
make if they get hurt, they go ah, like that. So it's
Right.
the same sort of concept. So slowly, you wean them out of it by every time it gets softer, you say ow, and then eventually he just stops and he just starts licking you, and that's it. But yeah.
Got ya.
But yeah, I did more research for the dog than I did for my son, just so you know. I'm terrible about that. Terrible.
So let's take it back to your son then. Like you say, so the other two kids were like 4 or 5 when they first came into your life. But what was it like for you going through, after having lived with them for so many years, when your son came along? What was that experience like for you, man? Obviously, it'd be like the first time.
It was quite easy actually, in a way, because my wife is great at that. My wife, like, because she knew everything, she'd done it twice before. I took a bit of a back seat, whether that was something I wanted to do or not, it didn't matter. She sort of did it, you know. I suppose when you know you've done it.
She was in her element, shall we say?
Yeah, she was in her element, whether right or wrong. That was her way. So I was very, very lucky, I've got to say. I was very lucky in that sense. So I didn't go through that stage of like not knowing things, like, you know, oh my God, you know, he's got a rash there, like, what's up, you know, calling your mum and calling doctors, like, and panicking, this, that, and the other. Like, Xenia will turn around and say, oh, you know, so and so. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, like, chilled. So, you know, he's crying at night. No, he needs to be, you know, you need to make sure he burps, like, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't have to Google anything. She knew.
Which ultimately makes a massive difference,
Yeah,
doesn't
I
it?
was gonna say.
Absolutely, it makes a huge difference, man. I mean, like, I look at, you know, there's a lot of people who have kids who don't have like family around them to help either, and I think to myself, how the hell do they manage? Because you know, I've got it pretty lucky. I've got my mum and dad. I can drop them off anytime I want. You know, my in-laws and so on. So it's like I had it pretty easy, man. I didn't really have it hard to be honest. He slept through the nights. That was pretty good. But he's 6 now. He's a cheeky little git. So that's the hard. He doesn't listen to anything. He thinks he knows everything. Like, literally, I can
What
tell
was
him.
what was the age at which it kind of flipped around? Was it when he learnt to say no, or like where did he start to gain control?
When he started talking, that's what he
Yeah.
was. Because he's seen quite a lot from me. I'm one of those people. I don't really hold back much, whether right or wrong. He's seen a lot from me. I've never spoken to him like a kid either. I've never, like, for once in my life, spoken to him like, oh, cool. I spoke to him like an adult. So
Yeah.
if you were to meet him, you'd probably realise what effects that's had on him, because you'd be like, are you sure he's 6? And everybody says the same. He'll struck up conversations with adults like you wouldn't believe.
But that's something I wanted to ask, and I wanted to bring this up in some sort of topic, and I'm glad you brought it up. You know, the whole kind of communication with your kid. Like, do you kind of treat them, and like you said, you know, have that conversation with them like they're an adult? You know, is that helping them understand things a lot quicker, a lot better, rather than babying them for so many years, and then they get to a stage where, you know,
They're not developed.
yeah, and well, just be a little brat as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong, he's a little brat, but you know, there's a massive difference between us and animals. Like, it's really weird that, you know, a horse or a dog is born, and within minutes it can start walking. Within days it will start barking. Whereas us, we can't. It takes us almost a year to get on our feet.
Yeah.
So we're very disadvantaged when it comes to, you know, like, we would never survive out in the wild. You know, when you think about turtles, for example, the tiny little beautiful things they are. You know, mum goes and lays the eggs and leaves them. That's it, and they're on their own. Once they hatch, they're on their own. And this little thing, one way or another, makes it through life without the hand of anything.
Yeah.
You know what I
Without
mean?
that care, attention, and leadership.
Yeah. Like, and then you think about us, and like, what are we? Why are we so weak like that? So I think we're already at disadvantage.
It's funny when you say it like that, when we're supposed to be the dominant species as well.
Exactly. It's weird. It's weird. So when you put it like that, I just think to myself that I think, and I always knew these days were coming. Like, for many years, I've always said, like, especially the last 3-4 years, I've always said I've said to my dad, there's something weird's going to happen.
Yep.
I think our children got to be prepared for it, one way or another. They need to know about things. They need to know about how to cook. They need to know about nature. They need to know that you can go and pick a fruit from a tree and things like that, you know?
Yeah, man.
And for that reason, I wanted him to grow up quick. I feel as if though when I'm not around, he's going to be on his own. So I need to do as much as I can before I go, because you never know, I could be gone tomorrow. You know what I mean? But at
This is
least
it.
I've squeezed in as much as I could before I do go. And yeah, and I don't know, maybe he might suffer in some ways in terms that he might not have had the childhood hit that he should have had. Like, but he probably gets that from his mum a little bit to him. But from me, it's quite tough. He's had it a lot harder than my stepchildren anyway. A
Yeah.
lot harder. And he's only 6, so like, I've never told off my other kids. I've never screamed at them. I've never like given them any like you're grounded or you're banned from doing this.
I mean, I guess that's a conversation in itself as well, wouldn't it? Because it must be hard to step into that father figure role for somebody else's children, right?
I never looked at it as a father role, because I think if you do go into it as a fathering role, then I think it can go wrong. I just did me, innit? I just stayed as me, and every child is innocent, and you can love every child. There's no reason why you shouldn't love a child. It's like puppies,
Yeah.
innit? And even when they're grown up, even like as us humans, it's like dogs. They've turned out the way they are because of the way they've been treated, the way they've been taught, not
Yeah.
necessarily, and their environment. They might not necessarily be such a bad person. Do you know what I mean? And they can be taught to be better. That's what I think. Since having a dog and doing all the research I did, that's how I feel. I don't blame people anymore for being the way they are. I feel, you know, there's a lot of bad people out there. I've had some bad experiences with people in it, and I'm like, it's because of what they've gone through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How they were brought up.
100%. I 100% agree with that. You know, you look around, just that, you know, people you come across on a day-to-day basis, and you can't blame them for how they act or how they are with other people, and you know, their communication. You know, there's people I come across, and I'm like, is that how you communicate? You know, you struggle to communicate with people in the right way, but is that down to just how you were brought up? And you know, if you kind of get to know them a bit more and get to know about them, you realize that, you know, it actually just stems from how your life was when you were growing up. That's pretty much it.
I'm like that. I'm quite a fiery person, for example, and I'm quite opinionated. I'm not the best in arguments. I'm very fiery in that sense. You know what I mean? I'm not
Typical Aries.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't think it's star signs, by the way, but yeah. But the reason why I'm that way, I don't know why I'm that way, but I need to try and figure out why that is, because I do like to take a step out and analyze myself as well.
Read into the star sign, bruv.
I don't know. I don't believe in that stuff.
Do you know what? As much as I used to think I didn't believe in it, like I know that I believe that there's something. Like it's what. So we had a guest on a couple of weeks ago who does a different podcast called Thoughtful Chats, and we were talking about like vibrations and like the aura and like Hinduism and the context and like back in the day and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, like he was saying, like you get vibrations and feelings and things like that come in and solidify like what you're experiencing or what that might mean or how you can use those vibrations to take you to a higher level and playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's different levels to it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of time it's situation and circumstance at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Most people can't get past the situation or the circumstance that they're in to be able to like put themselves out there in the manner that they want to be perceived.
Mm-hmm. So I can't stand still. I keep moving back and forth. you guys are
It's all good.
You're very static there.
I have to be static, bruv. If I move forward or backwards, I go out of focus.
I've got ADHD or something. I'm probably autistic one way or another. I don't know about it. I don't know.
So, all right. Well, look, we were looking at doing a giveaway, right? So, tell us about your products. Tell us about the giveaway. Like we discussed. I think. What did you say we were going to do a set?
Well, what I'd like to do, because I don't like it when one person wins. I like more people winning. So
Yep.
I'd like to offer it to 4 people. So there'll be 4 cents, and they can have a set of their choice. rather
Okay.
than rather than just doing 4 cents to one person, because it's not fair. And
Definitely.
yeah, four's going to last them a long time. So, but yeah, I'd like to give away a can each to four lucky people, and I what. So if you'd like to go and follow up NutraBlast at NutraBlast on Instagram, that's where we're mostly active. If you'd like to follow us on there, and if you comment under the last post with, if you tag two of your friends on there, okay, and we'll enter those names along with the person who's tagged them into the hat, and we'll be doing the draw. I would say probably about a week, 10 days time.
Yeah, I mean, you let me know a date. We'll put it out on the socials, and we get that information out there.
Whatever's
Again,
best for you. I'm not sure what
yeah,
how you're.
I was going to say, like, so we will cut some social shorts out of this, and I think like another way to do it is that if people comment on that post, they like and share it, as in like your page and share our post, and tag those two friends, and we do 4 of those social clips. That gives you your winner from each kind of clip.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And then
Yeah,
can be,
and it might be a bit easier for you to manage.
Are we allowed to enter?
No.
you can get a can for free. Don't worry.
I was
What
just
I
going to
will
enter
say-
as well for the fun of it.
What I will say is that they are some of the freshest fragrances that I've had the opportunity to smell in quite some time.
Oh, you're very fun.
Like the packaging is great. They look great. They smell great. Like, bro, put it into context for Buv. Like, you literally had Big Nasty at the office going mad about these, right?
Yeah. He's a friend, so yeah, he uses it. He can't do without it, and his mum likes it as well, so which is good.
That's a sales pitch in itself.
That's
do you know?
it. That's it.
Well,
That's it.
the thing is, once you've had it, you can't not have it.
Yep.
It's-
No,
it's
I've
one of those
vouched
things.
for that.
Yeah.
I've got one in the 5 Series, bro, sitting in the glove box, ready to go.
But how long? Like,
Did you say glove box?
Huh?
it needs to be out in the open. Why are you putting it in the?
It
Why are
needs
you
to be in the cup
hiding
holder.
it?
It needs to be in the cup holder, buddy.
Bruv, it can't be in the cup holder. Someone might take it.
I like your comeback.
I've got the Aguirre in it, so
I like your comeback. Very good. Very good indeed.
But how long? Like, say people like do a few sprays, right? In a space of a car or something. How long is that then lasting? The smell of, if they're just
Well, it depends on which one. A lemon, which I don't have here. I'm so sorry, it's terrible. But I was running late to the podcast, so I didn't go to the car. But the Lemonia is this one, which is lemon. It's a lemon sherbet smell. That is the one that lasts the longest. That's
okay.
because it's citrusy smell, and citrus smells tend to have that. And so this one, mandarini. Sauvage, the purple Aguirre, I personally think that one doesn't last as long as these ones, but it's still long enough. Look, in a car, as it says on the packet, on the actual can, you only need 1 blast. I'll show that.
Okay. Yep.
1 blast in a car, 2 blasts in a bigger, like 1 blast in a car. That's in the
and I
car.
like the fact that you've labelled it out like that, because it
Yeah, I was gonna
outlines
s-
like the
Do
strength
you know
of
why that
what
was?
people would
Do
expect.
you know why that was? I'll tell you the little story on that one. So
for
basically, when I first come out with these, there was a club, a group of friends. We had a club in Enfield where we'd all go and meet. It's like a social club, and that's where it all started. That's where I first started marketing it, because we had a lot of people come there. One evening, I walked out in the car park, and I was driving the car out of the car park, and I could smell Lemonia. I'm like, why? How can I smell it? It's so strong. So I stopped the car, and one of the guys from the club had stopped, and they were standing outside the car, and they were like, Turk, he goes like, bro, he goes, can't get in the car. He goes, we just sprayed it in the car, and it's impossible to sit in the car. How much did you spray? He goes, like you do with everything. He goes, shh, like, no, you don't spray that much. I said, all you need is a, shh. That's all you need in the car.
And that's what I love about it, bro. Like, it's the smallest bit that you need.
Yeah,
But
and that's what he said to me. He goes to me, bro, why don't you put it on the can? I went, right, it's happened. One customer has already made a comment about it. If I don't do it, it's stupid not to. You have to listen to your customers. And he was right. There's a few people that came after that said the same thing when they first started to use it. They use it like any other air freshener. Before you know it, you can't breathe.
and that's the thing, right? So if you think like you go, like most people have Febreze in their cupboard or something like that, but you literally just squeeze the nozzle down and let it trail behind you as you walk through the room, innit?
Exactly, because it's not the high pressure cans that these are. I mean, these also make great flamethrowers, by the way.
Not that we're advocating or anything, but
Yeah, do not try this at home.
Only for
this is not how you start a
only for
barbecue.
movies, and music videos, things like that. Not for self protection at all. But yeah, so that's the reason why I put that label on there, actually, just so that people know, and that way they won't come back to me and say, well, read the label. And that's our socials, by the way. Hold on. NutraBlast, Nutra_blast, which is Instagram, our Instagram. We're not that active on Facebook at the moment, but
You'll get there, man. As you get more time become available, or you find the right person to distribute the workload to,
you know what it is?
I
I came off Facebook when I first met my wife 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it was bad news to have Facebook. Like when you're settling down, your history is all there. People can hit you up and stuff like that. And I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't talk to people because I moved on from these people, and I don't want them to contact me. So I came off of Facebook until recently when I started the business. Obviously, Facebook bought Instagram, and now to be able to advertise on Instagram, you have to have a Facebook account.
That's it, dude.
The
fact is, though,
yeah, that's all
the
it
fact
comes down to.
And yours, Mark, take me.
You're lucky because the product that you're trying to advertise is something that is friendly for Facebook, man.
Yes, I just need to. And Facebook is so much different than it was 10 years ago now.
Absolutely, it's so different from 6 months ago, bro.
Is it that bad? Is it that bad? Like they changed that.
If you look from the advertising point of view, then yeah.
It doesn't look very user friendly. Am I right in saying that?
I mean, I would agree. The one thing that I would say to you as a bit of advice that some of the people that we work with has told us is, you know that little boost button and it says we'll give you £5 free credit if you press boost?
Yeah.
Don't ever use that.
No, I in fact, I've only ever paid for advertising once on Instagram. And then I thought to myself,
like within your niche as well, I think that advertising on Instagram is a much better way for you to go than advertising on Facebook.
It is, but do you know what happened since? Because the thing is, it's never as plain as it seems, isn't it? And I know for a fact that these people are always trying to play with you one way or another, whether you're a consumer or a business. Now, me as a business, or people that are out there who are influencers who pay for advertising, for example, that becomes a bit of an addiction. And to try and get that buzz of getting, 100% more likes or 200% more interactions can become quite addictive. And then you have to support this ongoing advertising fees that you've got to go for. And guess what? My interactions were much better on average before I started advertising. After I advertised, it was okay to start off with, and then it just gradually really, really dropped.
Really?
Madly dropped. Like that's just literally Instagram or Facebook going, you need to spend a little bit more money, buddy. Remember that?
Yeah, basically.
Remember what happened when you gave us £5 and everything went up? Well, you need to give us some more now. And the thing is, like, I don't want the same likes again. I want more. So why am I going to pay £5? I'm going to want to pay £7 now. I'm not getting trapped in that.
That's it. You got to double it and then double it and double it.
Yeah, and where do you stop? I mean, okay, I understand, but I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't want to be a massive brand. I'm just happy. You know what I mean? I don't need to get to that top level.
As long as my bills are paid and my family are happy and we're all
that's
fed.
What I'm worried about, man. That's what I'm worried about. That's all it is. So for that reason, I'm out. That reason, I'm out, bro.
That was a mic drop.
No more advertising. I'd rather give my stuff for free to people, and I find that a much better.
And get real feedback, innit?
Yeah, and get real feedback. Much better form of advertising. And I think that's where a lot of brands should be at these days. We're very fortunate enough, I think, this day and age that we don't have to pay for billboards. We don't have to pay for TV adverts. We don't have to pay for adverts in papers and magazines. Well, you can, but you don't have to.
That's it.
You can just do it on your own back and use...
Well, actually, there was actually a news article, a news story a couple of weeks ago, in it, how the newspapers are all complaining now because of a lack of spend on like businesses spending their adverts in newspapers. That's how they were making the majority of money, right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
now, because all of that money has been shifted into social platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, the newspapers have lost such a huge chunk of
Mate,
income that they
they're
were making.
dying. They're dying. It's very similar. Okay, no different to hotels. The way the hotels were acting towards Airbnb in the last 10
Yeah.
years. I mean, that's why they've brought all these new rules and regulations in for Airbnb apartments in London and around Europe, for example. Because the hotels got together to the council, local council said, "Hold on a minute, we're giving you millions of pounds in every year
Revenue, yeah.
in business rates and revenue, and you're letting these people go and do this business where they're earning shitloads of, sorry, my apologies, loads of money, and we're losing business. We're having to, we've got this massive old building to maintain, um, and this business rate to pay, and we're not getting the business we used to, so you're gonna have to do something about it." So they did. They put a hole in it. So you in London, you're not allowed to rent for longer than 90 days,
Oh,
for
is it?
example. On Airbnb, yeah, on Airbnb, you're not allowed to advertise or rent the place for. So once your 90 days is filled up in a year, then your Airbnb stops. You
Oh,
can't get,
right.
Wow.
yeah, you can't get no more bookings. So
Wow.
that's why I use Booking.com also.
Yeah.
Booking.com doesn't have the same regulations, and
Right. Okay.
I don't know why. I didn't
Is that
actually.
just because it was a regulation that was imposed on Airbnb as a business?
I've got a feeling it might have something to do with where the head offices are located for the two businesses.
Right. Okay.
I don't know where Booking.com is. I've got a feeling Booking.com may be out of the EU.
I
Probably
have
is
to
Out
have
not.
a
of,
look into that. It might be
yeah,
even Ireland.
and that's why they might not have to bow down and say, okay, but Airbnb, or there must be some sort of connection to the government, or one way or another. I've got a feeling for that to happen because Booking. So I was booked out for the whole year, but if I
Yeah.
got caught, I was liable to £20,000 fine. But that's the risk that I was taking to,
But
to
you
double
probably
my money.
make that for the rest of the,
No, I was making
250.
more money than the landlord.
But that's
When
the
you
point,
think
right? But you can afford it. Even if you had to pay a 20 grand fine, you can make that back in the kind of
when
days
you're
you've booked up.
the Airbnbs were literally, that's why I thought to myself when I was like, as an estate agent, if I rent out a that one bedroom property, the fees that I get from that for the 12 months is the equivalent of what I would get for an Airbnb every month.
Yeah.
So
Which is a very smart move in itself.
it's crazy because when you think about a landlord who's got a property and he's got, let's say, I don't know, £1,500 mortgage and he gets £2 a month rent for it, he's made 500 quid minus his taxes and his expenses, right? Whereas
Could you
me,
imagine, Buv, if we got Turks and Saga talking, bro?
Yeah, why not, innit?
with me, I was paying £1,500 rent and I was making £1,500 on top. So I was making more than the landlord. Landlords in it, like the way that I see it, since like being in the property game, I've realised landlords are slaves to the bank. That's all they are. It's being a landlord is no different to buying a franchise from a food chain like McDonald's. You have to give them a massive deposit, just like you
Yep.
do in McDonald's. You have to give them a massive upfront payment to have the name, okay? And then you have to pay them monthly 12.5% royalty fees, right? And that's what you do with buying a house. And you're responsible for the upkeeping of the building, the security, staff, everything that happens within it. The bank take a back seat and go, oh, yeah. And we just earn the money
Thank you
enough.
very much.
While you're doing all the hard work as a landlord.
All
And
the
the
graft,
landlord's
innit?
out there thinking that they're big shots, but really they're just working so hard for these banks. You don't believe it. It's
Yeah.
mad. And I'm sitting there making 10 times more than he is.
That's
That's why
crazy.
I couldn't. That's why I had to close the estate agents because I had no motivation to be running an estate agent with all the stresses, the overheads, the profits you were making on it. While I was making more money from my 3 hours a day I was doing at Airbnbs, 3 hours a day, from 10 till 1, just to clean it. I was doing the cleaning myself because no one would ever do it as good as I did. So I wanted
Yeah.
like 10 scores. Like I had, 5 stars in all my reviews for that reason. But yeah, I don't know where we started that from, but yeah, that's what we were.
That's mad, man.
But yeah, that's why I had to give that up, man. Where were we though?
I don't even know, Buv. What's
I
your
was gonna
next
say,
question?
I was about to say, like, where were we at before we even went into the Airbnb? Like, I'm just lost of what we were
We were
talking.
Sorry,
talking about NutraBlast, and then we got into Airbnb.
Yeah, we literally went from like, here's a giveaway, to going
Is
on
that
to
good or a
the.
bad thing?
No, it's good because the conversation just flowing, right? So
Okay, yeah.
we're an hour and 10 already.
Has anyone
So
seen? Has anyone seen Kanye West's interview with Joe Rogan?
No, I haven't.
nah,
Tell
What?
us about it.
What? Guys, you got to seriously go and invest your time.
Literally, bruv, yeah.
And
This
you're gonna be
this
like,
whole week, I've been working till about 11, 12 at night, yeah, and I'm pretty sure Bar's been doing about the same.
yeah, but I know you spend a few hours a day playing on. Scoot.
Nah, bro. Do you know what the joke is? Yeah, I ain't even touched that thing. Yeah, it's been
My
about
man
2
does
weeks since I turned it on.
more miles on the computer game than he does in
On-
the car.
But I think we all do more miles on the computer than we do in the car right now.
Yeah, definitely.
That's mad. So I guess
Okay,
what's
watch Joe
the
Rogan,
next
you'll
step?
understand.
Say that again.
I said, if you watch Joe Rogan, you'll understand why this conversation's gone from one thing to another.
but we'll have to
I
put
think
that
there's
on
a
the
term for
list.
this.
I don't know what
There's
it
a
is.
term for this. When I studied NLP, they used to call it pattern interrupts, where you start talking about one subject,
Yeah.
halfway through you switch it up, and
Yeah.
then halfway through that you come back to the first story.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so NLP stands for neuro linguistic programming.
Okay. Is it seen like a disease or
No. It's a skill set.
is it a skill
It's a-
set?
Yep, it's a
See,
skill set.
We're skilled, man. We're skilled.
It's
we're
brain
skilled.
training, and the fact is,
Yeah.
like, bro. So I used to work for Phones for You as a store manager, and they put us on this course. Apparently, at the time, the course was like $5,000 per person. You go and spend 3 days with this guy called Dave Evans. This guy is inspirational.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well,
to another level. Yeah. Like, so these pattern interrupts that I'm talking to you about, like, he would literally start talking to us about a story and a subject, and before we know it, he completely flipped the story into something completely off topic. But you are so engaged, you're following his conversation. Before you know it, he pauses that shit, comes back to the first story, and you're like, oh my God, I forgot about this altogether. And then you're still glued because you remember where he finished up. Do you know what I mean?
But
We've been doing that in this conversation the whole
but that
hour.
can also
The whole
go
way
the other
through.
way as well. That can go the other way. You'll be like, what are you talking about? Because that's a bit like Kanye West. I think, because I realised I do the same thing. I start talking about one thing, and my mind thinks in a complete, like, it's a weird way of thinking. Like,
It's because you're creative.
branch out from, like, I can have so many branches out from one conversation. It's quite mad. But yeah,
This is it. But look up NLP. I think you'll actually really enjoy it, man.
I think I will. I'll make a note of
Do you
that.
know what? So there's one story I will share. We learned this thing called format as part of NLP. And it was like why, what, how, and when, or something like that. Like those 4 things as triggers, right? And one time I was working at Phones for You, and a different store manager rang me, and she was like, look, I found someone with their hand in the till, as in one of my staff members. She's like, I'm not really sure how I should approach this. So I was like, look, we've all been on the training. These are the 4 triggers. Now, in this order, I want you to ask these questions. And it was like, what do you think you're doing? How do you think that looks to the others? What would you do if you were in my shoes? And why have you, like, what's made you think that this is something you need to do, or something like that? She rang me back about 20 minutes later, like happy as Larry. She was like, look, he's admitted it, and he's broken down, he's crying, he's actually in the back office. I mean, what do you mean he's crying? She was like, those 4 questions impacted him so hard
I need
that
that.
he fell asleep, like he started crying.
I need
I'll send
that.
it to you. I'll pull it back up. To be honest, it's
please,
something
because
in
I need
life
to
we
use
should all
it
be
with-
practicing with
I
a
need
kid.
to practice it with Tyler, because you know what? He lies so much, it's unreal, and it's really getting to me.
Yeah,
And it's one of the worst things in my thing. Like, I can't stand liars in it. I can't remember
Yeah.
who it was. I think it was 50 Cent. It was one of his tracks. He says, "Liar's worse than the thief. Thief is only after your salary, but a liar's after your reality."
yeah.
It just made so much sense. I was like, I can't stand that. And the little so and so He lies about everything, and it's so blatant. I'm like, why are you lying? And I can't. I don't handle it in the right way. I know I don't. I'm terrible at it. So that I need to practice that on him and see how it works.
Yeah, man. We'll look it up. Maybe we'll talk about it again on the show in the future.
Yeah, send
But
me a link.
definitely, like, we'll look that up. But I think like we've run an hour and 15.
Sorry,
I think we're all getting a bit dry on the throats.
sorry.
No, don't even apologize, man. It's been fun.
No, it's all good.
At the end of the day, like, this was what the platform was started for, so that like we as blokes or we as adults, when we have females on the show, in the point where we're all locked down, we're all stuck indoors, we're looking at four walls, we've got a level of reality that we can tune out to. Do you know what I mean? And the fact is, like, you've been on with us for the last hour, but when was the last time you was able to have an hour like this at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock on a Thursday evening where
Well,
you've got no responsibilities?
I'm usually napping on the sofa. This is my time of nap. I have a cup of coffee after dinner, and I'll sit on the sofa and I'll put the most boring channel on. And while everyone's messing around, I'll have a little nap for about 40 minutes. And you save me from that.
Is it?
You usually messes me up for the rest of the night.
Just make sure you're up on time tomorrow, right? Because the dog needs you early in the morning. Just make sure you're awake for that.
Dog needs you.
That's it. Otherwise, your living room gets it. Basically.
Oh, mate. No. We definitely don't want that. We will be happy. I will be up. It's a good day. The last few days have been nice. It's been bright. It's not dark when you get up in the mornings, which helps. And I went out for a walk this morning. I was out at 8 a.m. this morning, going for a walk at Lee Valley.
Yeah.
It's quite worrying, actually. There was a 14-year-old girl that went missing this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was some police there. It was really weird because they were walking in there, and I was like, "What are they doing at this time of the morning? Like, well, they're going to check to see if people are keeping a distance or something." And I realised after I was talking to a woman with another dog, because that's what happens when you get a dog. You talk to everyone who's got a dog. Right? It's like, mate, let me tell you something. If you get a dog, yeah, your social life becomes completely different, and it becomes really good because you meet loads of people and you talk to everyone. Loads of people that you would never talk to will come and say hello to you, and they'll know your dog's name, not yours, but they'll know your dog's name. Everyone knows each other's dog's name.
I think that's the same thing if you have a kid. Like when you walk around with a kid, people come up to you and they're like, "Oh, your kid's so cute. Oh, what's his name? Oh, yeah, blah." And I'm like, "All right, well, did I ask you to come out of this conversation with me? Like, where are you coming from? Like, where's this conversation coming from?" But the interaction increases straight away.
Because I think that's what's it called, isn't it? It's having something in common.
Yeah.
Someone like
Common ground.
Yeah, common ground. Like he might have a hat on and I don't. I might be 50, he's 30, but we've both got a boy that's 3 years old. We've both got a dog that is, a puppy, and that's what sort of starts things off. It's amazing the chats I've been having, especially old people. Oh God, they love dogs, don't they?
Man.
Oh mate, I can talk to old people all day long.
you go do that walk without the dog. No one's talking to you.
No, because they think
then you look like a weirdo walking through the park.
Yeah.
I'm always wearing a hoodie. I'm always got a cap on. I've got a beard. You know what I mean? And people they would never look at me. Do you know what I mean? They would never talk to me normally. But when you got a dog, you're safe.
Everyone wants to be your friend. That's it.
Especially if it's a cute dog, that helps. If you've got an ugly dog, don't worry. You ain't gonna. No one's gonna come up and say, "Oh, your dog's so ugly." No,
Mate.
it's the other way around.
Well, I think we should start to wrap down, gents. I know we've all got responsibilities that we're trying to avoid right now, but at some point or another, we've got to go back to it. I mean, before we wrap up, one more time, where can people find you?
Where can they find me? I am on Instagram at Turkstar80. That's TURKSTA80. That's my personal account where my photography stuff goes and my daily rubbish that I do with dogs and the kids and ranting. I love ranting sometimes. So you'll see my rants sometimes in the mornings after I've listened to Piers Morgan. Or you can find NutraBlast at Nutra_Blast on Instagram also, where you'll be able to see some creative posts with the cans on them.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Or you can find me. I'll give you my address if you want.
Say that again.
I think you might also
We'll
let
save
your
that for the next show.
Although your wife coming up and telling me off, bro.
No.
Right.
Thanks for having me on.
So, yeah. Well, again, thank you very much for taking the time out of your schedule to spend this time with us. I know it's difficult to miss out on sleep as new fathers or young fathers. We all realise how much that is a value of life in a day, right? So, once more, thank you again for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
People, it's been an absolute pleasure. Keep an eye out for our social posts over the next week. We will have 4 going out. There will be opportunity to win yourself a chosen flavour of NutraBlast products, which I guarantee you will be thankful for the opportunity of receiving. But anything else for you?
No, mate. I just say everyone have a good week, and we'll see you all next week.
All right. I guess for me, the only thing left to say is you guys need to like, share, and subscribe to keep up to date with any content that we post. One more thing today, it has been National or World Book Day, so we've got our 10% off at the JJ, so make sure you check that out. I guess this is HinduDad, podcast with Dad, signing out. See you later, people.
So.